Oh, hey there. Welcome to another episode of FoCo Talks. I'm your host, Jamal Page. On today's episode, our guest, Valerie Embry, teaches us about what happens when a city supports a community pursuing their passions, and how that can lead to growth of diversity. Now let's see here. Hello, and welcome to another episode of FoCo Talks. Today with Valerie Embry. Valerie, thanks for joining us today. You are first and foremost a well-known musician here in Fort Collins and just the northern Colorado area, as well as you've been involved in a number of community projects, and you are just really integrated with a lot of the things that are happening in our local Fort Collins community. I know some pretty fun things about you, but for everyone watching today, feel free to give us a whole nother introduction and let the people know who you are and kind of what you're all about.
I was born and raised in Gary, Indiana. And so kind of toggled between Chicago and Gary most of my growing up life. And actually came out to Colorado at one time when my father was transferred here through the post office, and then came back out for college to go to attend Colorado State University. And it was kind of that's when a lot of my adventures began.
I mean, obviously, it seems like music just runs deep in you personally and just in your family and in your history. Tell us a little bit about what music kind of does to a community. Like, what does that bring to a community when you have an environment or a culture that is supportive of the music?
For me, music builds community. Out of no community, it brings people together who normally would not be in the same spaces. People that come together from different backgrounds and biases and preferences, when you put them in a room with music, all that falls to the wayside and people celebrate. And I get a chance to share me with them on a personal level. And it's great to see people receiving that part of me.
So, Fort Collins is kind of known for having a pretty robust music scene. What's it been like for you, kind of like being in that space? And obviously, you've done shows at tons of different venues here in town. I mean, I recently just saw you guys perform at the Juneteenth event. Just kind of what is that like just being in Fort Collins and like playing these shows throughout the town at these different venues? What's your experience been like?
Oh, it's like over the top fantastic. It just feels so great to be in all these venues and reaching out and sharing with so many people. It's one thing of just saying, okay, I'm performing, I'm doing songs, but it's the whole thing of knowing that communication, that rapport is there, and we got this thing going on. They're giving to me as much as I'm giving to them. And it's the whole thing of creating music and finding ways of creating to share it. I have my own band, my blues band, Peaches Embry and the Rhythm Train, but also I work on different music projects with other artists, like the Blues Circus that I was working on and still do with John Magny. And we're going to be doing another show. He put together The Grocery Story, that he composed these songs and put it together in kind of like a story slash play format. And just seeing those kind of projects come together to just come up with some ideas and create something that is real and it's there and it's moving, and then you get a chance to just explode it all over the place and just give a piece to everybody. It's just super exciting for me. It's I don't know, it feeds me.
Right. Have you found that it's gotten easier as time goes on to be in these spaces perform? Like, for example, when you first came to Fort Collins, like, did you kind of have to struggle to get into the music industry, or were you kind of like, because it's in your DNA?
Yeah.
So when you got here, were you just like hitting the ground running, or what was that like?
Um, it was like I just kind of peeked out the music scene to see what was going on and seeing who was there, and went to some open mic uh, nights and met some folks, and it was actually not hard at that time to jump in if you desired to do music and really wanted to do music. It wasn't difficult to jump into the scene. There were some people who didn't want to work; they just wanted to get up there and do their thing and be seen. It's like, no, it's a little harder for you to do that. Right. But when I hit the scene, it was in the Linden's heydays, and Linden's was the place for anybody that wanted to be considered a good musician in Colorado. Everybody had to play Linden's. Yeah. And even national acts that would come to Colorado, they'd come to Denver. As soon as they got off the stage, they hit up and jumped on Linden's stage. I mean, you see Tom Jones and stuff playing Linden's. So it was just like all
My
these
dad loves
cats.
Tom Jones.
Oh, okay. All these guys coming up. And it was just a musical warehouse and also a training ground at that. Um, you would go in there, jump on the stage. If you didn't have your chops right, you might be getting off at the first solo. They might just tell you get off the stage then. As a vocalist, they asked me if I knew the tune, said, yeah, I'd jump up. They'd start playing the tune. They wouldn't ask me what key. So I had to be prepared in several keys. I had to practice songs in several ranges to be prepared.
Which is probably easy for you.
Jam. She get up on a jam session with Linden's. But it was exciting. There was quite a few venues that had some fantastic artists that were playing and very giving and very sharing. And I remember one show where Hazel Miller was playing, and she asked me to come up and sing a song, and I said, "What is it?" And I told her, "Oh, I don't know all the words," and she said, "Come up here anyway. You're going to sing it. I'll mouth you the words or whatever." I was like, "What?" She goes, "I'll give them to you in your ear," and it was Natural Woman. And so I got up there with her band, and she gave me the words in my ear, and I did the tune and everybody loved it. And I was like, oh, wow. But it was almost like on the spot, you're going to do this song right here, right now. No excuses.
So, I mean, it sounds like, when I first came to Fort Collins, that was also one of the first things that I became aware of was how, just how great the music scene is here. Being in other cities, other states, how would you compare like those kind of music scenes compared to what we have going on here in Fort Collins?
Well, I look at our scene now as re-emerging. For a while, I was kind of saddened that things seem to be going down. Right. We weren't doing it. We weren't having the celebrations. We're still building up. We're not back to where we once were, where we had was like the Old Town pub that was across the street from on Linden Street. It was like, Mardi Gras on Linden Street was off the chain. It was like so much. It would be like J.D. Kelly on the bar with his walking across the bar with his trombone playing and laying on the floor and playing the slide with his foot, and all this stuff. It was like, this is where it was exploding. Then all of a sudden it was like a big hush. And there was like not a whole lot.
Why is that?
I think that it came from when a lot of our artists well, some of the venues changed hands or changed or ceased. The Northern Hotel used to be also a big venue. And when they kind of remodeled and closed and did some other things, that was one. We had Blue Monday, I think it was the Blue Whale or something. That one wasn't there. Linden's kind of changed how they were doing things, and then the ownership changed. And I think as the venues start going down, and well, they kind of start disappearing or rearranging, then some of the artists that were living here, that were, kind of like half of their performances were up here, half were in Denver, they started moving to Denver. So as the artists left Fort Collins, then it took some of that legacy with them.
Right.
And then we start seeing different kinds of musics emerging and kind of building. And now I see us starting to come up and people starting to come back out. And of course, with COVID, it really smashed down as things were starting to merge again. It was like, bam, there's now we're real people got very hungry for music, I think, during COVID.
Yeah.
So now we're just like pumping it back up. Yes, we want to see it. We want to hear it. People are starting to come back out. People are starting to ask, where is the music?
Right.
And that's the greatest thing. And I'm seeing some of our Linden's veterans asking about gigs or asking me what am I doing up here or when are we getting back together. So people are starting to see, okay, yeah, we want to come back up there.
That's
now.
good. That's got to feel good.
Yeah, it feels really good. And just looking at other influences that might be going on with the music, I think the music district also has helped a lot with the reemergence of musicians being able to take music to higher levels, to really concentrate on their crafts now. That they have a place to do that, they have assistance in doing that. I think that it's really helped me as well. It's given me writing space, quiet writing space, because I'm a single mom and got kids running everywhere. And when I want to do a project, I have people right there that can help me, since I don't have the backup that we used to have with all these musicians everywhere and saying, do this, let me hear this cut, bring me something next week so I can hear it from you. That those were the kinds of musicians we had before, but now we have all of that kind of switching off, and the music district is kind of the older sibling now coming into that kind of protective and supportive space for musicians now. And I really appreciate that. I think that it's really given a boost to our music community.
Yeah, it sounds like they're helping to create that space for other musicians and creatives to, like you kind of mentioned, just be in their element to create,
Yeah.
Which I think the existence of the music district and kind of what they're doing and kind of what their mission statement is all about, that is directly tied to how the music scene is kind of re-emerging and also has been cemented here in Fort Collins, is because, I mean, obviously not forever, but since they've been around, right, they've kind of helped like bolster that music community and get it to where it's at now, which is clearly in a very good spot, where even through the hardships of COVID, people were still able to bounce back and get back into that music scene and have Fort Collins be kind of what it's known for, on top of other things, right? Which is its music scene. So, I mean, there's just a lot to be said about like having systems in place that support creatives and support artists, because then we get to talk to wonderful people like you and hear all about the shows that you're doing,
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us on this episode of FoCo Talks. It's been awesome getting to learn more about you and your history in Fort Collins and just what you have going on in the music scene. For those watching at home, also thanks for joining us, and keep an eye out for our next episode. Until then, we'll see you soon.